A few weeks ago now on this channel, we gave you a video explaining our 2021 Formula 1 predictions. We didn't decide them ourselves, and we let the fate down to an auto-generated wheel on the internet. It was quite quirky, and at the end of it, I got the Formula 2 driver and newly promoted to Alfa Japanese driver Yuki Sonoda as my champion. Can he beat the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton? Can he beat the 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel? I don't think so. So they were our fun predictions, but I've decided to give you my real predictions for the 2021 Formula 1 season. Who I think will finish where, who I think will finish in the podium positions, and who I think will be the 2021 Formula 1 World Champion. Now, not all the cars have come out yet, so it's going to be difficult, and pre-season testing has not started yet. So again, these will just be down to what I believe, maybe some performances from last year and the drivers' profiles heading into this year, and maybe some judgment of some of the drivers and teams who have released as of this video. But then after that, it'll just all be down to me and my guess, my logic, and really whatever I think. We've had the fun ones, let's get into the real ones. And as always, guys, let me know in the comment section below about your predictions, real or goofy. And you never know, if you did check out that video, and please do, a link will be left down below. Maybe you want to give us your goofy predictions as well. Did you use that wheel that we told you to use? But nevertheless, these are going to be my real predictions for the 2021 season. So in 20th position and rounding off the back of the grid is Kimi Raikkonen at Alfa Romeo, and his teammate Antonio Giovinazzi will be in 19th position. 18th will be Nicholas Latifi, the Canadian driver at Williams, and his teammate British driver George Russell will be in 17th, and in 16th will be the Russian driver of Nikita Mazzapin at Haas. Now, the reason why I have Kimi Raikkonen at the bottom of the grid is, firstly, again, Alfa Romeo is just my opinion of, I don't think they'll be the strongest team this year, and they'll be beaten by the likes of Williams, who, of course, were the weakest teams in previous years. But the second reason, and why I've got Kimi at the bottom and not his teammate Antonio Giovinazzi, is just the fact that Kimi Raikkonen is the oldest driver in Formula 1 right now. Of course, he's been going for a very long time in F1 and a very long time in motorsport, of course, taking a few years out in the middle of his Formula 1 career to do rallycross. It has been a good season in 2020 at Alfa Romeo. Of course, he left Ferrari to help out the team Alfa Romeo in just their midfield battles, and I do think that he's done a good job. As you know, if you have watched the channel before, you'll know that, you know, what I think of Kimi Raikkonen has definitely improved, him being at Alfa Romeo. I just don't think that he will be this strong, and he will be beaten by his teammate Antonio Giovinazzi in 19th. And Antonio Giovinazzi, again, a very revitalised season last year. He's an Italian driver. We don't get many of them. We get Italian teams, but we don't get Italian drivers. He's strong. He's committed. He has a lot of fans when we come to Monza. He had some good performances, again, around the Monza and the Italian Grand Prix of last year. So I think that he will have a good performance. He will excel his teammate. He'll be getting the best out of that car. But again, my opinion is that Alfa Romeo just will not be that strong, unfortunately. 18th position is Nicholas Latifi, and in a block of two, that's where I've put the Williams team. So a very big improvement from previous years, and of course from last year also. Now I was thinking that Williams will improve just again because they've got a new revitalised, personnel behind them. Of course, the Sir Frank Williams and Claire Williams have stepped down to Lincoln Capital. Hopefully they can bring a lot more into the team, and of course they are still using a Mercedes engine. Final year of the regulation staying the same, so hopefully they can capitalise on that. Now Nicholas Latifi, again, very strong driver, and yeah, when there's a second place driver like this, there's not really much to say in this sense. It's really the step up in the next position, and that's what I'm going to go to quickly now. 17th position, George Russell. He's going to be his teammate Nicholas Latifi for sure. George Russell, he's a very popular driver, very, very popular. We kind of saw how good he was in Sakia. Of course, the team letting him down, and yes, we've heard all the conspiracy theories and all of that stuff, but nevertheless, he has done a good performance, both at Mercedes, his personnel, his presence in Formula 1, and of course, at Williams also. Definitely helps the team. I can see him really performing very well this year. This could be his final year at Williams as well, but it won't be the first time you'll hear that. Obviously, possibly going off to Mercedes. It was going to be this year. It's not anymore. But George Russell, I do think very strong, beating his teammate in a good position. And that is a very good position for him in the championship. And 16th position, Nikita Mazzapin. Now, again, this is not anything to do with his character at all. He is going to be driving for Haas this year. We're just going to have to, put up with it. And it's not a dig at him and say, oh, he's just going to be at the back because it's him. I just think that Haas, they will be improving from previous years. They still won't be very strong, and an okay position in this is going to be a good position for Haas. Now, firstly, again, I haven't put Schumacher in this bottom 5. He, of course, is higher up than Mazzapin. He has beaten his teammate. You'll have to see where I put him when we get on to the next 5. Is he going to be right next to Nikita, or is he going to be really excelling with him? Haas, am I predicting a few good top 10 finishes? Possibly a few. That's if luck goes on their side. That's the tracks that probably suit that Ferrari engine a little bit more. But again, it is going to be a hard year for Haas. I was contemplating putting Williams higher than them. I just couldn't really do that. It's Haas. And they have had some bad years. 2019 definitely stands out, but nevertheless, I think they can bounce back. They have got a good Ferrari engine. They have got 2 good Formula 2 drivers. Okay, fine, Mick is really high and then Nikita pulls it down, but nevertheless, 2 good Formula 2 drivers for this year. So heading into my next 5, 15th place to 11th. In 15th place, I have his teammate of Mick Schumacher, so of course 2 Haas drivers together. 14th position, I have the AlphaTauri driver and my world champion of the funny predictions of Yuki Tsunoda. 13th position, I have his teammate Pierre Gasly. 12th place, I have Fernando Alonso, the new, or return I should say, driver to Alpine. And in 11th place, I have his teammate Esteban Ocon. Now, as I said about Mazzapin, it is 3 for 3 teammates being blocked together. Now, a lot of people probably think, in a video that we did last on the channel about, if Mick got more pressure behind him, people were probably thinking I was going to put Mick really high up and that he was going to win race and things like that. That is not going to happen, unfortunately, even though I do think we would like that and I would love to see that. Top 10 finishes, yes. Podiums, probably not. He will beat his teammate. I'd be saying that even if it wasn't Mazzapin, even if it was somebody else, Schwartzman, Eilert, anyone else from Formula 2. And I do think that he will have a good performance in that Haas car and cement himself as a good number 1 driver. But nevertheless, I don't think that he can get better than 15th. And it's in that Haas at the end of the day. It's not a formidable car. Like it was in 2016, 2018 when it was challenging at the front and we thought this American team can do really well. So, blocked together teammates, but obviously Schumacher winning the battle and yeah, it's not much to say about Haas. 14th position is Yuki Tsunoda. Again, I think this is promising for him. Formula 2 drivers, yes, of course, some have come and, really taken Formula 1 really, really well. They've taken to it like a fish to water and they've done really, really well. Now, AlphaTauri last year had a very good season, of course, with Pierre Gasly. When I say that, it was kind of one-sided, of course, him winning the Italian Grand Prix, but Danny Kvyat pulling out some decent results. Again, not much to say about Yuki Tsunoda. I think, obviously, we've seen the car. It looks good. He does look good in the overalls. He is a good driver from Formula 2. He is definitely, someone who Honda will love to see in Formula 1. I do think he's going to get a lot of support now, especially that we are going back to Japan. And yeah, I think that he's going to have a good season. Yuki Tsunoda in 14th for sure. Blocked together, and this is now 4 for 4. Teammate together, and of course, is Pierre Gasly in 13th position. Now, Pierre had a very good season last year, of course, winning the Italian Grand Prix. Can he go and win a race again this year? No, he can't. Firstly, the competition out there is obviously going to be very, very fierce. I just don't think AlphaTauri have it in them anymore. Does Pierre? He has the fire. He can get top 10 finishes. We could even see him challenging for a podium here and there. Because of the driver that he is. Got a great racecraft and someone who, Red Bull, it pains them to have let him go. He was the one that got away. He's going to have to sit at AlphaTauri for a few years. But a good season from him, nevertheless. And again, number 1 driver at AlphaTauri. But 13th position, I don't think he can do better than that. And then the next 2 drivers, 12th place, Fernando Alonso, and 11th place, Esteban Ocon. Teammates blocked together once again. Now, Fernando Alonso is returning, of course, after winning his double world championships at Renault, the team that, of course, Alpine has now changed its name from. It used to be known as Renault. Even though, of course, that's a good thing to remember by, I don't feel like that's going to be that's not going to keep him in Formula 1. The fact that, he has won Formula 1 World Championships before, so what? The Eagles have won the Super Bowl, but it doesn't mean that, it means that they're letting their quarterback go. It doesn't hold up very long in Formula 1. Obviously, they were over a decade ago as well. It's about what Fernando does now. And, in the end of the day, I think it is kind of a clean slate. That's what he's starting off. he's very much next to Esteban Ocon. We did a video talking about is Fernando Alonso, why is he coming back and the hype. But at the end of the day, it is very much a level playing field between him and Ocon. Now, I've already made my, opinions clear that I think that Ocon will beat Alonso. Ocon's younger, he's hungrier. And hopefully, the vibe that I'm getting is that Alonso is there just to support Ocon. Nevertheless, though, Alonso will still want to do well for himself. Top 10 finishes here and there. Not much after that. No podiums, no wins. Same for Ocon, but promising. And just like what Ricardo left us with last year, we could see them challenging for podiums, getting very close, 4th place, 5th place, 6th place, but I can't see any actual podiums or wins for them this year. So Alonso in 12th and Ocon in 11th. Now moving into the top 10. Now this is where it gets very, very fierce. So in 10th place, I have the Canadian driver of Lance Stroll. 9th place, I have Lando Norris. 8th place is Ferrari driver Carlos Sainz. 7th place is Sergio Perez, the new driver at Red Bull Racing. And in 6th place is Aston Martin driver Sebastian Vettel. Now, Lance Stroll in 10th place is again a hard driver to put. The top 10 is very, very condensed with some great drivers. Even though they are Force India, even though they are Racing Point under the sheets, and possibly the W10, and possibly even the W11, they still are a new team at heart. And I do think that we are seeing more of a new team than just a normal name change. That's what I'm seeing. Now Stroll, of course, will have a good season, possibly a few podiums. Probably not loads because he wouldn't be in 10th place if he was. But I just can't see him really performing this year. He had a good season last year. And of course, the highlight of his career so far was, of course, his pole position at the Turkish Grand Prix. He fell back miserably from that in that race. And that just begs the question, can he hold up in against the actual, big fighters in F1? So in 10th place, I think a Stroll, can't really see any change in this way. 9th place, Lando Norris. That McLaren is going to be really, really strong this year. Now, again, where I've put his teammate, you might think it's a little bit unfair putting, them so far apart, and I've just given that away now. Ricardo is going to be a long way, further up than Norris. Again, just seeing the competition, I'm just not really feeling that he really has that fire to go on this year. Now, of course, he got a podium last year in the opening race at the Austrian Grand Prix, and of course, knowing the channel and that, what happens to us, that really went to bite us really badly. But I'm just not seeing the fire from him this season. Lando Norris in 9th place. Not much to say about that, but I do believe that the Mercedes will be very strong. And when I say this, I think the top 10 are going to be very, very hotly contested this year. 8th place is Carlos Sainz. We have the Ferraris back. Now, when I put this in, I thought that this was an improvement for the Ferrari drivers to be this high up and for Carlos Sainz to be the first Ferrari driver in this position. Comparing, Sebastian Vettel was in 13th last year. I do think that it'll be improvement from Ferrari, but not a massive improvement. Now, again, we haven't seen the Ferrari car as of yet. I'm expecting them to have made a massive change. I really, really am. And I'm hoping that they've really addressed some of the problems that they had in 2020 and they've really come forward and given back a championship-winning car. Because we still think that Ferrari is a championship-winning team and they can't keep going on like what they did in the second part of last season, especially when they've got a new driver, Carlos Sainz. They've got to make a great impression with him. So I'm expecting them to have a good car, challenging for podiums, hopefully at least the top 10 in every race, or at least, almost every single race. That's what I'm hoping for. Podiums here and there, I think that would be great. Carlos Sainz has already got onto the podium with his former team of McLaren, so if he doesn't do it this year with Ferrari, that could look really bad for that. But nevertheless, I do think that it is an okay position for, especially your first season as a Ferrari driver. 7th place is Sergio Perez. 7th place is Sergio Perez, the second driver at Red Bull Racing. I would say that's a strong position. Now, that is where Alex Albon finished in his first season at Red Bull. Obviously, he also had... Now, 7th position is Sergio Perez. I think that's a good position for him at Red Bull. Again, it's your first season in a team that we know can be quite one-sided. It's very much in Verstappen's favour. So maybe as the second place driver at Red Bull, you already know, he already knows going in that he's maybe not going to be the most loved driver. He's going to be following in the footsteps of Albon and Gasly in that you're the second place driver. you know what to do. It's almost like the role in Verstappen's corner, and the kind of the second place driver at Red Bull is someone who has to be very independent. I feel like that should be in the job description. Independent. Can they do it on their own, or do they need the hand holding? Well, Sergio Perez has been in Formula 1 for almost 10 years now. He's had wins. He's had podium. Well, he's had one win. He's had podium. It makes it sound like Sergio's had more wins. It always gets me that. I'm like, he deserves more wins, doesn't he? He's had podiums. He's been in Formula for a very long time. He's actually been with a championship team, even though he doesn't class that as, obviously, McLaren 2013. So he knows how it's ran. I think that he will do a good job in that Red Bull car. Of course, Verstappen will beat him, but I think he'll do very well and hold up them in the Constructors' Championship for Red Bull, obviously, as I've just said in other videos, hoping that they get second place, and no less than second place will do for the Austrian team. And sixth place is Sebastian Vettel, new driver at Aston Martin. I think Aston Martin will be very strong, and I believe that Vettel will be very strong also. I'm expecting him to go in this team and almost dominate, put his foot down. We've already talked about Aston Martin and how will he fare against Lance Stroll, and I believe that he will really take the bull by its horns, learn what he did at Red Bull, taking the bull by the horns, what he started to do at Ferrari, obviously what he never got to do at the end of Ferrari when Charles Leclerc came in, and now do at Aston Martin, and he can really dominate in that team. I'm expecting from Sebastian Vettel at least top 10 finishes in every single race, a few podiums, maybe quite, more than last year. I was about to say that. That's ridiculous. At least 5, say. And a race win would be great to see from Sebastian Vettel. Something to really erase 2020 from our memories, himself and Ferrari, and something to put him on a new trajectory for the future. The big thing for Sebastian is he's gone from using Ferrari power to Mercedes power. It's not rivalry. It's a different power. It's a different unit of power. He spends so long. He's never driven Mercedes power before, and it's going to be a big adaptation for him. But nevertheless, I do think that he will have the edge over his teammate. He will have the lead in the team, and a good, solid 6th place will be there for Sebastian. And after last year's 13th, he will definitely think that is an improvement times a million. Now breaking into the top 5. And starting off in 5th place, I have the second Ferrari driver of Charles Leclerc. In 4th place, I have Daniel Ricciardo, the Honey Badger, who's new at McLaren. Now we're breaking into the top 3 now, and in 3rd place, just missing out on the glory, is Max Verstappen of Red Bull. 2nd place driver, I have Valtteri Bottas of Mercedes, which of course means that the 2021 Formula 1 World Champion will be Lewis Hamilton, and Lewis will win his 8th. Ferrari in the top 5, and McLaren, but of Daniel Ricciardo. And I know that a lot of Lando Norris fans will be back out and saying what's happening here, so let me explain. 5th place, Charles Leclerc. Now, he's the leader at Ferrari. I have a lot of faith and trust in him. I do think that he's a very, very strong driver. He needs to go out there and excel so much. Now, obviously, it's down to the car. Of course it is. I'm hoping that Ferrari give them a decent car. And when I say decent, I mean because Charles Leclerc just seems like he can get the best of a bad situation. Like in 2019, he did 4 off the bounce pole positions, and that is just absolutely crazy. I know that he has the ability to do that. He doesn't need the best machinery. He can get things. It might not be the best. It might not be frequent wins and world championships, but he can get good wins and good results out of just mediocre cars, hence 2019 Ferrari. So if Ferrari give them a good car, which of course will be revealed, I think it's about in the next few days, depending on when this video comes out, Carlos Sainz might not be able to adapt to it straight away, but I am hoping that Charles Leclerc can adapt and break through the boundaries and get the best out of that car. And as I say that, he could be almost driver of the season if he does that. And as I say, I am very much hoping he does. I'm a very big Charles Leclerc fan. I'm not a big Ferrari fan, but I'm a big Charles Leclerc fan. Just coming to Red Bull next time. 4th place, I have Daniel Ricciardo. Now, fourth place, I have Daniel Ricciardo. Now, when they did the launch of the MCL 35, I was thinking that Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris, they might not be the best partnership for McLaren. Then they did a test day at Silverstone, and I don't know, just my feeling of Daniel Ricciardo, of course, ex-Red Bull driver. He's got podiums, he's got wins, he's got more experience than Carlos has, than Lando has, and both of them have together. He is a breath of fresh air and the best driver, I would say, at McLaren since Fernando Alonso. Of course, Alonso, it didn't work out for him, but Daniel Ricciardo has the prowess, he has the fight, and of course, a lot younger than Alonso was when he drove for McLaren the second time around. So I'm thinking Ricciardo can achieve big at this team. The big news of McLaren, it doesn't matter about anything else. The biggest news, and the thing that must get them so excited on the morning, is the fact of knowing that they have a Mercedes engine for 2021. That is such good news that they have a Mercedes engine. They've shown the car, they've shown the specs, they've said that it's going to be a good engine. So let's see if it happens. Mercedes McLaren for 2021 should be good, and in fourth place will be Daniel Ricciardo. Now, third place is Max Verstappen at Red Bull Racing. Now, I've done a video and I've talked about Max Verstappen and his situation at Red Bull. Could he trigger this extra clause, and what would make him do that? But he seems that he's going to be sticking with the team. And Max Verstappen is firing so much for a world championship. Is he going to do it at Red Bull? Well, that's where all the flags come in. At the moment, it's going to be hard because of the engines that they have. Of course, the engine freeze for Honda is good news, but the regulations are staying the same. And even though the Honda engine's staying the same, they still haven't had a dominant engine from last year. He has got a good thing going at the team. He is a strong, competitive, consistent driver on the podium. And that's all I think that he can do. There's not much to say about Verstappen. I just think that he's going to get beaten by the two drivers ahead and the one team ahead. He's a very strong, consistent driver. He is definitely best of the rest in this sense. Beating the Ferraris, beating the McLarens, beating the Aston Martins, beating the midfield. I know that might not be what he wants to do, but at the moment, you are in a Red Bull. Regulations are staying the same. For the final year, possibly Max, you are going to be in this position. We'll have to see what happens next year, of course, when the regulations do change. Max, hoping for a good few wins. But as I said in other videos, he needs to get frequent, consistent, possibly, maybe 2/3 of the races on the podium. He needs to have a good, strong podium run. And that's what Max needs. If he doesn't win, I don't mind. He needs to get on the podium. I want to see that Dutch flag on the podium every race. Even if it's not on the top step, it needs to be on the podium. And if it is, then that's a good season for you. And third place, again, is just a stepping stone for, of course, your next season with Red Bull. And obviously, hopefully, he might stay at Red Bull, but we'll have to see what happens then. Second place is Valtteri Bottas. Now, of course, the second man to Lewis Hamilton, the man who should be competing against. Now, second place is Valtteri Bottas, the man who does his job, but it's never enough. Now, second place is the best position that he can get, of course, if he can't beat his teammate Lewis Hamilton. Lewis is on another level at Mercedes. He's really in his own level, in his own cube, in his own world, Valtteri Bottas. He needs to just focus on himself. Now, I'm hoping that the team is very much split next year. Lewis, of course, has got 7. He's matched Michael Schumacher, which is an amazing achievement. He's beaten and excelled and set to dominate the win category of this year. Of course, he's almost at 100 wins. He's almost at 100 pole positions. It's crazy. So I'm hoping that the team have now throttled back a little bit more and said, I'll tell you what, let's split it. We already are the most successful constructor. Yes, Lewis has matched Michael Schumacher. He could beat it. He could go for 8. But, we have to help Valtteri Bottas as well. I was going to say they don't want him to win number 8, but they've got Valtteri Bottas as well to think about. I'm hoping that this year it's a little bit more split down the middle. We already know Valtteri's a great driver. He gets frequent second places. He does his job. He does what he says in the tin, and he is liked. And, he is a good driver in Formula 1, but obviously when you have the 7-time world champion as your teammate, and 8-time world champion, and the 2021 Formula 1 world champion, that is Lewis Hamilton, it is going to be incredibly hard. Now, again, there's not much to say about Lewis Hamilton winning the World Championship. It's Lewis Hamilton winning the World Championship. This might be his final season in Formula 1. If he does win the World Championship, I'm expecting him to retire at the end of the season. The only reason I'm saying that is because I think he's one of these people who believes in retiring on top. Again, doesn't have to. He can see the regulation change. He can do a Kimi. He can sit back a little bit. He might want to go for 9 next year. We never know. Mercedes still might be competitive. Me, personally, I do believe that Lewis could be one of those people who would like to retire on top. Hence why I was thinking that he could retire this year, and I do think that he will retire next year if he does win 8, but we'll have to wait and see. But nevertheless, with that incredibly strong Mercedes power unit, like always, Mercedes will be pushing not just Lewis to win 8, but themselves to win 8. If anything, as a team, that's way more important than Lewis winning 8, Mercedes winning 8, because that looks like it will never be beaten, just like Lewis's records will never be beaten. So Lewis Hamilton is your 2021 World Champion, and as I've just said there, there's not much to say about that. So anyway, guys, there are my predictions for the 2021 season. You've seen our stupid ones. Now here are my real ones. It's so exciting, less than a month to go to the start of the season and only a few weeks till winter testing. Almost all the cars are out so far, but nevertheless, I like doing predictions beforehand. Very much just out in the air, and I could be completely wrong after the winter testing, but it is going to be really exciting. And there we go, Lewis Hamilton will be 2021 World Champion, in my opinion. Let me know in the comment section below who you think will be 2021 Formula 1 Champion. Do you think, like my original one, it was Yuki Tsunoda, or do you think, like my real one, it will be Lewis Hamilton? If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to be notified every time that I upload a video throughout the 2021 season. It should be a very good season. I can't wait to see the cars roll out into 2021 Formula 1 season. It is going to be really, really good. No Australia, but hopefully it's a normal season. It should be a good opener in Bahrain. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. Stay safe, and until next time, I'll see you later.